Guys, welcome to today's topic. We are going to continue talking a little bit more about ecology or ecosystems. Now, we know that all organisms are classified into one category or groups. It can be multiple groups. For example, all cats belong to the family of animals. Humans belong to the family of mammals, but cats also belong to the family of mammals. So each organism can be classified into one or more groups or classified into one or more groups. Now, individual living things are often organized into cells, tissues, or organs or organ systems. But individual organisms can be grouped into higher levels of organization. Now, if you have to organize species or that are same, right, that look the same, that are the same, they can be grouped into something called population. For example, all humans belong to the same species, right? Homo sapiens. So we belong to a group called population. Now, population of different species are then grouped into communities. So there is this order that we follow when we are trying to group people or when we are trying to classify different species of organisms. And when there are different communities, when they come together, we form something called an ecosystem. And when ecosystems come together, we form something called a biosphere. Now let's see, here's how the order goes. First, we have an individual organism, and when different types of individuals come together and they are of the same species, they become population. And when different types of population come together, then they become a group called community. And when different communities come together, they form ecosystem. And when different types of ecosystems come together, they form something called biosphere. Now let's think for a second. Let's imagine that you have a sibling, a brother or a sister, at your home, and you have one last slice of pizza that you both want. There will be a competition among you guys, right? Who is going to get to the fridge first? Who's going to heat up the pizza first? Who's going to be able to get their hands on the pizza first? Now, this is a competition, and the reason why it's happening is because two of you are depending on the same food source or because it is limited. Now, you actually see this type of interaction in different members of an ecosystem as well. When different species are dependent on the same food source, because it's limited, there ends up being a competition. For example, in an island, there are some gray seals and harbor seals. Now, these are different types of seals, but they both compete for the same food source, right? So there's going to be a huge competition among them. And both type of seals, since they feed on a type of tiny fish, scientists discovered that seals actually dig into the ocean floor and find the fish hiding there. Now, these were gray seals, but harbor seals follow the schools of land lances and eat fish that wander away from the population. So they have the same food source, but they compete in different manners to find whatever is more advantageous for them, so that they can win that competition and get that food source. There are many cases where living organisms or two different types of living organisms live very closely together for a very long period of time. And this type of interaction is actually called symbiosis. Now, in symbiosis, at least one member always benefits from the interaction. For example, let's come back to the example where I said you and your sibling were trying to grab for the last slice of pizza. Now, you're different individuals, but you're living under the same roof. You're thriving under the same roof. But one of you is always going to benefit more than the other. Maybe it's because you are the elder sibling, so you have the final say. Or maybe it could be because you are the younger sibling and you have more advantage because your parents favor you more. So you're definitely going to benefit from the interaction more. So that's what's happening when we talk about symbiosis in living organisms. Different types of members live together for a long period of time, but in most cases, only one actually benefits the most from the interaction.